Hello, today I'm going to be sharing our trip to Oahu. We stayed 5 nights in Waikiki and had 4 days to explore the island. This is our first trip to the Hawaiian Islands, so everything was new to us. With so much to see and do, we wanted to check off some things but also wanted to relax because we are on vacation after all. This isn't the ultimate itinerary for Oahu, it's just the things that we did. Maybe you'll find something useful in this video. Let's begin. We arrived in Honolulu late afternoon and decided to take a bus into Waikiki. The Uber rates at this time were a little pricey, so the bus made sense for us. The bus stop is outside the airport and we had to walk a little ways to get there, but it wasn't too bad. Once we got to the orange sign, we crossed the street and the bus stop was located under the overpass. So it's Thursday and the weather forecast looked good for the most part. There was a chance of rain, but nothing unusual. The bus only took cash and there weren't any luggage compartments. If you have luggage, you will have to hang on to it. With all the stops along the way, it took around 40 to 45 minutes to reach our hotel. We were staying at the Aston Waikiki Circle Hotel. This is an older hotel, but it offers great views of the beach. By the time we arrived, it was already close to sunset, so we decided just to take a quick look around. After that, we went back to our room to relax and start fresh in the morning. The following morning on Friday, we woke up early. It was before 7 a.m., and it's already a lot of activity outside. There's cars on the road, people walking, people on the beach. Even at this early hour, there's a lot going on. And our hotel is literally right on the beach. All we have to do is cross the street. This is the advantage of this hotel. Even if it's older and maybe outdated, it's got great beach access, and it also has great access to a lot of retail and restaurants. There's also a police station nearby and also a bus stop. There are newer resorts and hotels, however, this one also has its advantages. I think it's worth mentioning, you may see some homelessness in the area. We didn't have any issues. You don't really hear about it when planning a trip out here, but it's like any other large city or touristy area. And like those touristy areas, you have people trying to sell you stuff like tours or timeshares up and down the strip. The area never really felt unsafe. There's also ABC stores located everywhere in this area, and that's not an exaggeration. One of our bus drivers jokingly said that ABC stood for all blocks covered, and there's a bit of truth to that. We didn't have a stacked itinerary for day one. We were going to hike Diamond Head, and then afterwards we were going to explore and get familiar with the area. It was Friday, so we were going to also check out the Friday fireworks later in the evening. This cafe on the first floor of our hotel was very popular. There was always a waiting list, so be sure to get there early. I can't believe we didn't get a chance to eat here, and we were staying right above it. We took an Uber to Diamond Head. It wasn't too far from where we were staying. You have to have a reservation to hike it, by the way. We decided to take an Uber because we would be doing a lot of hiking today, so we didn't want to add mileage to our legs. On the way, we got to see some of the neighborhoods in the surrounding area. Even in the residential areas, it's so scenic here. We would return to this general area the following day. If you do decide to drive, be sure to follow the traffic signals when you approach the tunnel. There's only enough space for one lane of cars, so if the light is red, that means there's cars coming in from the opposite side. Here's the signage at the entrance mentioning the reservation system. The hike itself wasn't too strenuous. We saw older people and people with young children doing the hike. It is worth mentioning, however, that the trail will become uneven, so be sure to wear comfortable shoes and watch your step. There were also some muddy patches in some areas that could be slippery. There's handrails in places and also benches if you want to take a break and let someone pass. Like a lot of hikes where you're climbing up, there's also switchbacks, which can be tiresome. There's a couple of flights of stairs and a tunnel that's also pretty narrow. We often let people pass if we found it too narrow. As you can see, we are getting near the summit. It wasn't too strenuous, but I was working up a sweat. I am, however, not the most in-shape person. If I can make a recommendation, it would be to come early when it's cooler and the crowds are not as large. Here's some pics I snapped at the top of the summit. At the entrance of the park, there's a gift shop and a food truck area with picnic tables. From here, you can see where we climbed earlier. I really liked coming here to unwind and have a snack after doing the hike. We headed back to Waikīkī by Uber to explore the shopping areas around our hotel. Our first stop was International Marketplace. This became sort of a home base for us. We visited it often during our stay. It's an open-air mall with a Target attached, as well as a Mitsuwa Marketplace, which is a Japanese grocery store. You will also find restaurants and food courts nearby this area. I really like how the layout is incorporated around the giant banyan tree. There's also a large Waikiki sign that makes a great photo for your social media. There's a nice offering of retail stores in this mall. We didn't get a chance to explore the third level, but I heard there's some nice restaurants located there. We also went to a place called Magnolia pretty often, which is a Filipino dessert cafe. There's a cat cafe in this mall as well, like you can find in Asia. It was pretty cool. The shops are solid, and there's also nice areas like this courtyard on the first floor. Here's another great sign to take your souvenir picture in front of. Further down the strip, you'll find the more high-end luxury brands. Just off the top of my head, I saw Louis Vuitton, Tiffany, Hermes, and Dior. We came back to this area often during our stay. Oftentimes, we walked up and down Kalākaua Avenue in the evening. The nightlife was always nice, and it seemed like it was never boring here. The Sheraton Waikiki was tucked away in this area, and it had a really nice lobby. That's why I liked visiting these resorts even if we weren't staying there. They had nice lobbies with retail and restaurants. The beach access was nice as well, and it was open to the public. We walked out here and took pictures without issues. Next to this is the famous Royal Hawaiian. This place was really nice and had a stunning view from the lobby. Later in the evening, we headed towards the Hilton for the Friday night fireworks display. It was a bit of a walk from where we were staying. We kind of got lost, but followed a massive group of people, and it led us to the beach. There had to be at least 1,000 people watching this show. I mean, it was okay. Nothing you wouldn't see on July 4th or New Year's. It probably lasted 5 to 10 minutes. On Saturday, we decided to visit a local farmers market and also the Moana Center. Later in the evening, we would attend a luau. This particular market was in the same direction we went to for Diamond Head. There were plenty of vendors and live music. It's definitely a nice place to visit on the weekend if you want to take in the local scene and sample local products. We decided to skip on the Uber and walk back to Waikīkī. The walk itself wasn't too bad. It was all paved, and you really felt like a local taking in sights and sounds of the area rather than the air-conditioned backseat of a car. We passed by the zoo and found locals set up on the fence, selling their art. Apparently it's a thing, as indicated by the sign on the fence. We finally made it back to the beach, and we decided to take a bus to Ala Moana. The bus or trolley stop is located at this sign. This particular bus we took was a double-decker bus, and the bus driver gave you a tour of the city over the speaker. Now, as I pan the camera over, you can see the police station that I mentioned earlier. The bus stop was located in front of the parking garage of the food court. As we were entering the main mall, we could hear a live band playing. This seems to be the big mall of the island. It had just about everything you would want in a shopping mall, from your favorite retailers to the more luxurious brands. It was pretty impressive. There was also a Target attached to this mall. What was cool was there was an artisan area set up in front of the Target when we went on Saturday. I'm not sure if this is a weekend thing, but it was cool seeing local crafts on display. When we got back to our hotel, we had a little bit of time before our luau. We decided to ask the front desk if they had any rooms available on a higher floor with full views of the beach, and they did. Surprisingly, they let us upgrade our room for a small fee. Check out this view. This is Germaine's luau. It was a little ways out from Waikiki, however it was pretty cool because it was on the beach. Now, there are many luaus to choose from. All of them seem to have good reviews. The consensus that I seemed to hear was that the Polynesian Cultural Center had the best one. The only issue for us was that it would be an all-day thing, which we couldn't really spare. Germaine's was cool because it was running a special at the time, and it also had the option for a shuttle to and from the luau. The shuttle stop was right next to our hotel, which was also a plus. If this place looks familiar, it's because the live-action Leo and Stitch was filmed here. This was an all-you-can-eat buffet. We purchased the second-level tickets, which included a cool ceramic mug gift. The ride here was also nice because our driver was personable and made the ride entertaining, offering a tour of the area and also some Hawaiian history. Before the festivities, we got to see the pork prepared in the traditional method. It kind of reminded me of Lechon pork. On Sunday, we decided to rent a car to visit more of Oahu. If I can give any advice when it comes to car rentals here, it's to do a one-day rental and return the car the same day. That way you're not struggling to find parking in Waikīkī. The itinerary for today was pretty stacked. The main focus was going to be Kualoa Ranch because we already had a specified reservation, so everything else would need to be planned around it. Our first stop along the way on this scenic highway was Halona Blowhole Lookout. Lanikai Beach was a beautiful, quiet beach. This beach felt like a hidden gem. It was tucked away in a neighborhood. The parking was a bit difficult because you were parking in a residential area and the access was hidden. Once on the sand, I quickly realized that it was worth coming here. I only wish we could stay a bit longer. We were back on the road and we had a little bit of time to spare before our booking at the ranch. We decided to check out a botanical garden in the area. Next up, we made a quick stop at the Honolulu Botanical Garden. This was a place we couldn't really explore much of because of our set schedule, but we did take the time to visit the visitor center and lake behind it. This is a place that I would like to visit again in the future with more time. During this time, I was beginning to realize that maybe 4 days was not enough for this adventure. We found the macadamia nut place by accident. This place was apparently a tourist hotspot. There was a lot of good souvenirs. Just be prepared to drop some money here. Seeing the chickens made me realize that it was close to lunchtime. Just up the road, we found a rotisserie chicken place with a guy cooking outside the restaurant. This place was pretty good. I really liked the macaroni salad. There was also a souvenir store attached. And just before we arrived at Kualoa Ranch, we made a stop at Kualoa Regional Park. This was a really nice scenic park, and it had picnic tables. It was nice to be out and about because there weren't many people. I really envy the people that live here because we don't have these amazing parks back in my hometown. Kualoa Ranch was a place that was always on the bucket list due to the scenic location and all the movie and television productions that were shot here. We did the movie sites tour. The ranch also had other kinds of tours. There was horseback riding and ATV activities as well. Lost was one of my favorite shows back in the day. It was so cool seeing the props in person. An interesting fact, the tour guide said they removed all the keys from the old computer because fans were stealing keys from the keyboard. This valley of prop bones made an excellent spot for photos. Please keep in mind that these are props made out of styrofoam, so you are not allowed to sit on them or step on them. According to our guide, this is a working ranch with cows, and apparently some of the props have been broken by cows sitting on them. Seeing all the filming locations was really cool, but I feel like the views you get to experience while on the tour really steal the show. The tour guide informed us that there was a production that was in the early stages of filming, however, he didn't know what it was. We got to see the team during our tour, which was cool. The day was quickly unwinding, but not before we made one final stop. The irony of renting a convertible, it seemed like the day we rented it was the only day of our stay that was cloudy. I guess that's the chance you take when you reserve a car in advance, right? When we came back to Honolulu, we stopped at Tantalus Lookout, Ualakaa State Park. To get to this lookout, you will have to go up a mountain road to get there. Just an FYI if you have a fear of narrow, winding mountain roads. These type of roads don't really bother me though. You really feel the elevation the higher you get. This lookout offered a spectacular panoramic view of Honolulu with Diamond Head in the distance. I feel like this was a better lookout than from the top of Diamond Head. I noticed a few signs in the parking lot mentioning that there was some crime in the area, so take precautions with valuables in your vehicle. I didn't see anything out of the ordinary though. Maybe it's only after dark? I'm not sure. Nevertheless, I'm glad we were able to see Honolulu from this vantage point. If you're wondering what type of camera I'm using to get some of these shots, it's a Canon 80D. Afterwards, we ended the day with Leonard's Donuts. This was a much hyped donut shop. The parking was insane for this place, but it was so worth it. It's Monday, and it's our final full day in Oahu. We decided to do another one-day rental and explore some more of the island. We had another busy day planned. The first stop was going to be Byodo-In Temple and followed up by the Dole Plantation. We also had plans to explore the north shore of Oahu and hopefully find a sea turtle. We actually passed by Byodo-In Temple the day before but didn't realize it. This temple is actually located in a memorial park. I would recommend coming here early in the morning to get your shots. We came at opening and got some great pics. By the time we were ready to leave, the crowds began to come in, and those pictures we took were probably going to be more difficult to capture. The parking lot was already filled to capacity when we were leaving. Dole Plantation was a cool place to visit. This was a highly visited area based on the amount of people we saw. We got a pass for the train and garden. The train is a miniature like you would ride in a zoo. There's a recorded narration that gives you the history of the plantation, the Dole Company, and its relevance to Hawaiian history. The train makes a loop around the property and you can see the different crops that are growing. I think this was the first time I ever saw a pineapple on the actual plant. We then went to the garden. This was a beautiful garden and there were lots of photo opportunities. I really feel like we could have stayed here longer. There was a lot of stuff to do overall. There was also a maze on the property, but we didn't get a ticket to that. There was a really nice gift shop as well. If you like exclusive Hello Kitty merchandise, be sure to check out the stuff here. I believe there's also some exclusive merchandise at the ABC stores as well. We also stopped by the restaurant. There was a kiosk to order. We got some frozen desserts. As we start our journey to the North Shore, you realize the terrain changing. By the way, this reminds me, our phone's batteries were down to maybe 5% at this point. We took out our phone charger only to realize this particular car we rented had no normal USB hubs. Please don't make our mistake. Come prepared with multiple ways to charge your devices. We were lucky and found a small market in Haleiwa that sold chargers that plugged into the car's cigarette lighter. The price? A whopping $30. Talk about sticker shock. The one thing about me is that I like road trips. Anytime I can drive and see the scenery is always a treat. I honestly wasn't expecting Hawaii to have areas like this. So we arrived in Haleiwa, the town where we bought the mythical phone charger. This is a small surfing town. At first I thought there wasn't much going on because it looked like a lot of small towns I've been to back home. However, when I saw a Patagonia store, I began to realize this might be a cooler place than I first thought. There was a lot of people out and about. It definitely began to feel like this was a special place. As a matter of fact, this might have been my favorite stop during our stay in Oahu. I really enjoyed the small town atmosphere of this place. We visited Laniakea Beach, and lo and behold, we saw people gathered in the corner of the beach. We walked over, and there was a sea turtle laying on the sand. I couldn't believe our luck. We really weren't sure if we would have the opportunity to see a turtle during our trip. The area was taped off, so there would be some distance between the turtle and the spectators. We came just in time too, because when we were leaving, there was lines of cars waiting for the next available spot to open in the parking lot. Next up was Sunset Beach. I'll be honest, the only reason we came here was to take a picture of this famous palm tree. It became really impossible to get a good shot because there were people that were hanging out around the tree. It is what it is. It's a public beach after all. I'm not sure why I didn't get any video on the beach. I guess we were just relaxing and taking in the moment. Our final stop of our Oahu adventure was Lāʻie Point State Wayside. This is another place where you will go through a neighborhood to get to the access point. This wasn't a beach, but a rocky coastline. The rock formation is cool. I can see why people come out here to take in the views. It seems like a place where people fish. We saw some guys doing that in the distance. This was a really nice time of day to come out here. It was nice and breezy, and there's something therapeutic of hearing the ocean waves crash on the shore in the evening. I can't believe our adventure was ending. I really wish I could stay longer. And just like that, it's time to pack our bags and get ready to hop on the flight back to the mainland. We still had a little time before a flight, so we hung out on our balcony to take in Waikiki one final time. By the way, we got a lot of souvenirs and didn't have enough room in our checked baggage, so we shipped the stuff back in a priority mail flat rate box. That's something to consider when staying here. It arrived just a couple days after we got back to the mainland. Not bad. For my first trip of Hawaii, I was thoroughly blown away. I can see why it's a destination. Would I come back here again? Absolutely. We didn't get to do everything we had planned. One omission that I wanted to see was Pearl Harbor, but we missed the reservation for the Arizona Memorial. I guess that means we will have to visit again, right? Who knows? Maybe we'll island hop next time as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and found something useful. Thanks for watching.